Placenta area of California. It's in part of the suburb of Los Angeles. I'm doing this video for the ACA Rehab Council's journal, our online journal. And we're going to do a series of clinical pearls where myself and other doctors can share different applications of rehab-related technology and sports work with our members and other people. I'm going to be covering today what's commonly called the Russian step-up. There's different applications. There's an application for athletes, and I use it a lot with rehabilitating people for knee and hip problems. It really helps strengthen the glutes, coordinating the Vastus, Medialis, oblique, Vastus, lateralis, quadriceps, the whole system, hamstrings, gastocnemius. So it's a closed chain exercise that really helps synchronize everything, and I find it helps work real well. And especially for somebody who doesn't have access to a gym, I can have them do this at home. The basic idea is going to be having the foot on a step and then standing up, one leg at a time. Now, in your office, like I had a patient of mine who's a carpenter make me this apparatus, very sturdy. You want to make sure that it can hold 300-400 pounds. So if you have a man who weighs, like, say, 250 pounds and you're giving him some kettlebells or dumbbells to hold later on as he progresses, you're going to have over 300 pounds. So it needs to be sturdy to hold up to that force. So basically, we're going to have the person do, I like to have the foot straight ahead. Some references talk about having the foot 10 degrees externally rotated. For most people, unless they're doing a certain kind of sport, I don't like that, especially when just rehabbing the knee. I like to have the foot straight ahead so the person can have a reference point for their kneecap. So we want that aimed toward the center anterior part of the foot. So again, they're not wobbling, because as most people will collapse in, that's one of the weak areas. So this gives them a reference that they can look at. Some people even having a mirror may help with them getting a cue, a visual cue on that. So this foot's going to be straight, having the lower leg as perpendicular as possible, having the foot on the ground, either behind the heel or slightly where the toes are a little bit forward of the back of the heel. We don't want the person necessarily pushing up a lot. Now, some individuals, if they're very weak, they may have to. They may have to do that, so we can forgive that at the beginning. But eventually, as they strengthen up, we want to minimize that happening. And at that point, you can have them, dorsiflex the foot a little bit to take that out. So they're just engaging the glutes and the quads and pushing straight up. And if they have to balance on a wall or you hold them, you can spot them. Have them balance for a bit and slowly go down. So about this height is very good to start with. Eventually, as a person gets stronger, then you can start giving them a couple small kettlebells or dumbbells or some weight to hold to add more and more, and eventually work your way up. And you also then can eventually start going higher, where they're higher and they're pushing straight up and balancing and slowly down. And again, not letting this go too anterior. So it's again straight up slow and then down. Trying to keep, again, don't want that medial collapsing the knee. So we can train them with this. Some individuals, you're going to have to hold their hands to get them going. I will give this to some people at home, like with a door. Having them hold onto a door or something and sitting back and lifting up, or you can do it on the kitchen sink, holding on if they're strong enough, and sitting back and pushing up. I get a lot of compliance with doing that at home if they don't have a step somewhere. Again, watch how strong they are over. If it's a senior citizen, you want somebody working with them and spotting them so they don't fall and get hurt. So this is very good, and you can gradually build up with different levels of weight. Again, holding it like in front or side, make sure they're not hurting their shoulders, just dropping dead weight. Now for the athletes who don't have injuries, and you're trying to enhance performance, there's a couple of versions. One version is holding it in front, having the weight in front, or kettlebells. This can be used instead of squats. If you have a person you don't want to compress the spine, like when I was younger, I've done 500-pound squats, I've done 950-pound incline leg presses. And that's okay for a young man who's playing college football or something, but that still could eventually put a lot of stress on the spine. I know I didn't like it up on upper thoracics, having that bar pushed down, concentrating that weight up there. And that may have been leading to some of the, disc problems later in life that I may have in that area. So we got to be a little cautious. So this works out well where you can still load up this chain and not stress the low back so much. So with the dumbbell, again, the young man can be here and come up as quick as possible. That's one version. Not too heavy. When you're getting heavy, then it's going to have to be slow, preferably in front. That's what some of the Russian power lifters would use, was a barbell in front, pushing up, holding it slowly down. Depending on the sport, a sport where you want to accelerate, then you can have them with a weight that's appropriate, up and down quick, but again with good form. So that can be used in those ways also. With an athlete who's trying to do some real heavy weight on a Smith machine, where something happens they're not going to get hurt, or in a squat rack where you have the bars that's going to catch the barbell in case they slip or something like that. But again, coaching them with common sense so to minimize them getting hurt. But there's the athletic application, and then we have just the basic patient rehabilitation of the knee. Find out works real well, especially when they don't have equipment, access to a gym or something like that. So this can be used in addition to other things. If you also want to facilitate the popliteus muscle a little extra, which a lot of people don't do that, but it may need it if it's weak. If you have the foot, the heels just slightly away from the wall and pushing the toes inward. And be careful with this so we don't torque the knee, but that pushing in and coming up and down, that can facilitate it and try to synchronize it. Not too high a reps, just a little bit on that. Usually I like to start the person out new, the injured person who's rehabbing, maybe 5 reps twice a day. And then gradually building up more and more, so doing higher reps, and then when you think it's appropriate, adding the weight. So I hope this is of some value to you, that you can find an application in it. And thank you very much.